Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to put on some makeup with you guys. I'm actually going to try on some dresses this evening, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of film my process of how I like to get ready in this kind of occasion. So I find that when I'm going to try on clothes, if I don't know the color of the dress that I'm going to be wearing, so in this case I'm actually going to go try on some bridesmaid dresses, so I want to do something that either I know will work with, like the color palette, or something so neutral that it doesn't really matter. I also like to keep it fairly simple, probably pretty similar to what I might do on the day of. So first things first, I'm going to get my hair out of my face. I also wanted to show you guys a new kind of concoction that I've been liking to do with my base. So I've been mixing products lately. So the first thing I want to do is try out this new, well, it's not new, it's new to me, L'Oreal primer. I heard that this is super similar to the Tatcha smoothing one, the one that Tati always uses. And I didn't really want to spend the $50 some odd that it cost to get that one. So I actually went to Shoppers to try this one out because it was on sale. So I'm just going to put it in my T-zone here and see if it kind of helps to fill in the pores, smooth things out. It's quite a bit softer, or maybe less silicone-y feeling than the NYX pore filling primer that I've used before. I'm actually enjoying the texture of this one a little bit more to start. Sometimes I don't really like that silicone texture. This one's nice and soft. I also have a few little blemishes, not too bad right now, that I'm hoping this will help product kind of smooth on a little bit better. So for my base, what I've been doing lately is mixing 3 products. So I've been taking my L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. This one is in the shade Light Glow. I've been also using my Clinique ID moisturizer. This one here is made for oilier type skin. It has kind of an oil control component to it. And then last but not least, I'm using the NYX Bear With Me Tinted Skin Veil. I like this because it has a bit of that tint, but it's not super pigmented in a way that's like covering up too much. So I like to take a little bit of this, a little bit of the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion, and then I just do 1 pump of my Clinique lotion here. The ID lotion from Clinique is also really cool because you kind of get to tailor what you need in your moisturizer. And what I like to do with this too, if for some reason I feel like I didn't mix enough of some product in, I'll just add kind of more strategically. Like that one, I didn't put a whole lot of foundation in that mix, or this tinted moisturizer I should say. So I'm just gonna build a touch more up on my cheeks, kind of where I have a bit more redness, and then maybe just a touch more on the chin. I'm still gonna conceal, but I like to add just a touch more coverage because I'll probably add a little bit less concealer now on those spots since I added that little extra tinted moisturizer. Lately I've been really loving the Revlon Candid concealer. This one here is in the shade Fair 5. I also have the banana shade, which can be really nice if you really want to add a lot of brightness underneath your eye. I had used, I can't remember what it was called, I think it might be Light in this line, but I need a little bit of a lighter shade. So I like to start by dotting in there, here, and then I'll kind of do some targeted spots, a little bit of brightening, an extra coverage, and then we'll see how that blends out. Sometimes I'll add here and here as well if I feel like I need the extra brightness there. So I'm gonna take my MAC 270 brush and just start blending out this concealer. Now I like to do these 2 spots because I find, for one, the concealer blends out really well, so it covers a good portion of my under eye. But the other reason is I generally have a bit of darkness on the outside and the inside of my eye, so I don't want to just focus product on the inside. I want to kind of get a good covering from everywhere, or for everywhere. And if I put a lot on a spot like that, I will take more of a foundation, like a slanted foundation brush, and just tap out the edges so that it blends in nicely. I actually would use it for this spot normally too. And you can see kind of the difference. I mean, of course I still haven't blended out over here, but that coverage gave a little bit there. It's a little bit less purple underneath the eyes. So I do feel like I want a little bit more brightness on the center of my face, so I'm just going to add a touch more concealer here, and I'm going to take my bigger brush and blend that out. So I think it's actually done a pretty good job with smoothing out this area. We'll see how it wears throughout the day though. So since I'm fairly familiar with all the products that I'm going to be using on my eyes, I'm going to go in and use my face products next. So I'm going to do a layer of cream products and then also a layer of powder products just to give me that nice longevity that I would want on a wedding day or on an occasion that you know is going to last a little bit longer. So I'm going to take my Nude's All Over Face color in the shade Brown Sugar Baby. So this is actually one of their highlighters technically, but I love to use this as a bronzing base. For me, since I'm so pale, this tone just is really nice to give kind of more of a natural glow. I find that sometimes if I just use Bondi Bay, Baked, or that shade of a bronzer on my cheeks, it almost looks a little bit too orange when I'm this fair. This one I find gives a much nicer kind of all over glow, and you can tell that it isn't like it's a super blinding highlight. It's fairly soft, so I'm going to take it around the perimeters of my face, warm up my forehead a little bit here, and then I'll just do the same to the other side. So my bone, you can see, is right here. I like to start on the bone and then kind of keep blending because it's gonna blend down a bit naturally with how I apply product, and I know it's also gonna sheer out. It also generally looks quite a bit darker when you're first applying it, for me anyways, because I get red fairly easily. So you can see on this side that it's quite sheer. You can tell it's there, but it's not looking quite as intense as this side is right now. So we'll see. If I did end up applying more on the one side than the other, I'll just go back and fix it after. If you have spots like this, like I do, where product doesn't stick as well, just tap a bit of whatever cream product you're using, apply it with your finger, and then I like to try and blend it out a little bit with my finger to minimize that appearance of a kind of patchy spot. I don't really have it as badly on the other side, but it is still there a bit. If using your finger still didn't work, what I would do is try and maybe soften the edge of that area a little bit so that it's not so noticeable. We can also try and help correct it a little bit more when we go in with our powder. Next, for a nice simple blush, I'm gonna go in with the shade Bareback from Nude Sticks. It is a beautiful, more cool tone pink color, pink rose I suppose. So I'm gonna take this guy again on my e.l.f. brush and start stippling it on my face. Now I'm not sure if you guys are big Nude Sticks fans like I am, but they actually just did a 24-hour pre-launch today of their new product. It's a magnetic plush lip paint, or lip plush paint. So it's kind of similar in the sense to their lip glacés in that they come in that kind of container. They are matte, however, they aren't more of a gloss like the lip glacés are. Alright, so blush is on. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a cream highlight next. Just gonna use Nude Sticks 99% Angel. This is their magnetic glimmer formula. I didn't want to put anything too crazy on, so I kind of chose this guy. It's nice and soft, works well with my pale or more fair skin tone. And since I haven't done my brows or my eyes, I'm gonna take it a little bit up into kind of my brow bone area just to blend it all in nicely. I've been liking lately to kind of bring this almost on the front of my cheekbone just to really make my apples on my cheeks pop. Now remember, this is also just our cream layer, so I'm gonna kind of lock it in with powder products, and that should help me to have it last all day long. So for powder products, what I want to use today as my bronzer is my Jour Sunset, I think is what it's called, bronzer, or Sunkiss. Nonetheless, it's their bronzing duo. I have the light medium shade. This is what the inside looks like. I've been wearing it quite a bit lately because it works really well for my more fair skin tone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna start with the lighter of the two shades, get it on my brush, and just start kind of slowly adding it over where I put the other bronzer. I'm also going to take a little bit of the darker shade and just kind of apply that more on the portion of my cheekbone that's a little bit closer to my ear, just deepening it up outside here. I don't want it too deep on the center of my face. Whatever I have left over from that darker color, I'm just washing over my forehead. And then just going to take a mixture of the two and warm up my neck a little bit. I also have been liking to kind of pull it over in this area here just to connect it a little bit more. I think it looks a touch more natural, but I only do it when I have a little bit of product on the brush because I don't like adding another section of bronzer really. I just want to diffuse the colors together. For blush, I'm going to take MAC Cosmetics Mineralize blush in the shade Cosmic Force. Unfortunately, I don't think they make this blush anymore, but I absolutely love this shade. It's kind of similar in my opinion to the Nude Sticks Bareback shade, so that's why it's so great to pair them together. And I like using this really fluffy, soft brush to apply my blush. Doesn't deposit too much at one time. And I'll take whatever I have left over, just kind of dust it on the temples, bring it around through the eye, because it's not going to be much on the brush, but then it just helps to tie all those colors together. Next, I'm going to throw on some highlights. I have a mini Hourglass one here. It's in the shade Incandescent Strobe Light. It's just a very soft highlight. It's kind of a pinky shade. I really like it when I want something, again, that's not too crazy intense, but still adds a bit of a sheen. So I'm just getting it on my feather brush here and just applying it on the high points of my face. And once I've applied it on the more targeted points, I do kind of just fluff my brush all around because I really like everything in general to be quite diffuse. So there's a little bit of a difference there that you can see, but again, keeping it nice and soft. And of course you have the option to do more precise application if that's something that you prefer in your makeup application process. So I think I'm going to zoom you in. We'll get these eyebrows a little bit more under control hopefully, and then we'll move into the eyes as well. Alright, so brows are on. I say they're as good as they're gonna get. I definitely live by the saying that brows are sisters, not twins. I pretty much never have the patience to really spend an immense amount of time trying to get them to look the same because my brows act so differently and I just consider them to be wild and unruly. So I'm just taking my MAC paint pot here in Painterly and I'm applying that all over my lid. Just like to cancel out any sort of kind of discoloration, and in addition I also like how this helps the longevity of my eyeshadow. I also love applying this with my hands, which is kind of a general thing for me when it comes to makeup application. If I can do it with my hands well or simply, I will do it with my hands. You can definitely also use like a sponge or use a brush with this product if that is your preference. Next, I'm going to apply the shade Soft Brown from MAC on my eyes. I really like this as a crease color. I find it works with pretty much any eyeshadow underneath, unless of course I want something a little bit more cool tone, but this has been a go-to shade of mine for quite a while. So I'm just going to take this product starting from the outside and then pulling it through to the inner corner, and then once I kind of have that general shape, I like to really diffuse it and kind of go in circular motion back and forth. So that is the crease shade, at least the first round of the crease shade applied on the one eye. So I'm just gonna quickly do the second eye. I don't know how people do videos where they do a whole side at once because I feel like I make so many changes as I'm going. I like to mirror each eye right away in case I forget a step. Another thing I find is always really important when you're applying eyeshadow is to do a combination of eyes closed, eyes open, especially if you are kind of just starting to learn your eye shape, what kind of looks best on it. It's nice to be able to check in and see how it's actually going to appear with how you normally are looking, which is of course eyes open, not eyes closed. Like for me, even when I just did this first round, it comes off a bit more intense on the outside on this eye. So instead of deepening up this side, because I think I prefer this intensity, what I'm going to do is I have a powder here that I'm actually using as my mirror. It's a Jour powder. It's a soft focus hydrate and set, but instead of adding more of that shade soft brown to this side, I'm going to take this powder and just kind of run it over the edges to try and soften it out a little bit. So there's still going to be some product on my brush from the eyeshadow, but also adding in this color should help to diffuse it out a little bit. They're looking pretty good. I need to work fast here because the lighting is going to really start to change quite a bit given that it's wintertime in Canada. Next, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a deeper brown. This shade is called Brown Down. This is also from MAC. I don't know if they're discontinuing the shade or if they're just no longer selling it in like the single compacts like this, but I did see it on clearance or in the good buys section of MAC. So if it's one you like or are interested in, definitely check it out. Now I'm using the same brush and all I'm doing is trying to apply a little bit to this outer corner here. So you can see I got it deposited where I want the product to mainly be. So now what I'm going to do is circle my brush around and kind of run it a little bit in the crease to blend out the color and give that more seamless look to it. And then with what little bit I have left, I just like taking it through the rest of the crease just to really kind of bring all the colors together. So you can see that that just adds a little bit of depth on the outside. Again, nothing too crazy, but just brings a little bit more life to your eyes. Another option is if you don't like kind of dragging it like that, you can just tap the product in first in the main spot that you want it to have it appear on the eye, and then go into those buffing out motions, either circular or just kind of pulling from the outside in. You can also definitely go in with a more precise brush. I sometimes do, but on days when I really just want things to be a bit more simple, I'll just use the one brush to do my whole eye look, or brush in hand I should say, because I do use my fingers to apply shadows at times as well. And don't let the internet fool you into thinking that you can apply darker shades, darker matte shades like this with your finger, because you totally can. It's a good way to really deposit a little bit more color in areas that aren't quite holding it as well, or that maybe you blended out too much. Sometimes I go like this and then take my brush and blend. Alright, last but certainly not least, I want to apply a bit more of a shimmery shade. And since I know the clothes I'm going to be trying on are kind of like dusty blues, dusty greens, I'm actually going to go for an olive shadow. I think that it can pair really nicely with either of those colors. So I have the shade here, Sea Worship from MAC. I absolutely adore this formula. It is their extra dimension eyeshadow formula. So for this, my favorite way to do it, take it on my fingertip and start patting it over my eyelid. So I usually will do that first, get the product all over my eye, and then I will take the same brush we were using before and just blend out the edges. That way everything looks nice and diffused. You don't really see any distinct lines from where you applied the product. And then I'll just do the same thing this eye. This product is so nice and buttery, super nice to work with in my opinion. I really like how I can just kind of tap it on. If you want to have more of a sheer application, you probably could just use your brush, or if you want to have even more of an intense application, you could use a wet brush, but this is my preferred level of intensity for the most part. And if you do feel like you want to build it up, you can always just go in with a second layer. Alright, so I'm going curl my eyelashes, apply some mascara, and then I will be back so that we can finish up this look with putting on the lips. Okay, mascara is on, so there's a little bit of a close-up of the eye look. So next, let's do the lips. I know for sure that I want to use this Covergirl Exhibitionist lip liner in the shade Caramel Nude. It's nothing too crazy, too out of this world, just a nice simple nude. I really like the way that Covergirl does the tips of these pencils. It's kind of angled like that. That's the shade of it, so I think it'll work really nice with the tones that I have going on in this look. So I'm going to take this, and I think I'm probably going to line and fill the lips. Yeah, this liner actually looks really nice with this sweater. Our lips are nicely lined now, so I feel like at this point you can either take this, well, you can take it many different ways. You could just throw a gloss on top of this, you could throw a little bit of a lighter shade in the middle, bring a little bit more definition to it, darker shade on the outside, whatever you want. I want to see what little bit of this shade from Bite Beauty will look like. It's called Whip. I'm just gonna put a touch on the middle, blend it out and see what that looks like. I haven't used this a whole lot, but the pink might kind of tone things down a little bit. I'm just gonna apply it in the middle like that and tap it out. See, I applied most of that in the center of my lip to try and put a little bit more emphasis on that. See, this is kind of the shade that we created when we put that Caramel Nude liner on and that Whip color from Bite together. I just used the finger that I was tapping it out with on my lip to swatch it on my hand so you can kind of see how it turns out there. The Whip color is quite a bit more pink, I would say, than the other one. Whip is in the middle, Caramel Nude, the mixture of the two that actually shows up on the lip. So you can see how they kind of mix together to form a really nice soft shade. And here's the finished look. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to have a video come up with the information on the new Nude sticks launch, so definitely be sure to keep checking in on that. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like, comment what your favorite techniques are when you're going to kind of go try on clothes for a specific occasion, or what you like to do. Do you ever layer cream products and powdered products? If you do, yeah, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Love hearing from you guys and having conversation down there. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.